Gareth Story Planet.
So I'm still here with the wonderful Peter Bentley, and
Hello.
we've just been talking about getting that amazing, successful feeling of selling a first text. But on a slightly negative note, do you ever worry that books won't sell? What goes through your head when you've written something?
It's funny, I read something that you'd written actually, and I thought that's exactly right. You're definitely a writer because you think the same things that all writers think, which is that will my existing book stop selling? Will I be able to write anything that will be accepted?
Yeah.
Will I be able to write anything as good as the thing that everyone likes?
Yeah.
Again, will I run out of ideas? Sort of. So it's a constant worry.
It is, isn't it?
It's a
Isn't
constant
it
worry.
hard for us?
You can't. Yeah, here we sit in our nice little Hoxton den
They're beautiful,
in
isn't
Shoreditch, yes, feeling sorry for ourselves.
Absolutely.
I mean, to a certain extent, it's the freelance condition.
Yeah.
But certainly, as a writer, you go through phases of thinking, oh, are they fed up with me now? I mean, genuinely.
Yeah. No, I feel
think there is certainly a point at which you move from being the bright young thing, the brilliant new author that no one's heard of, that everyone wants.
I hope that's me, but some of the words I don't know.
As you're about to find. And then I think what can happen is that maybe one, I don't know if this applies to me, but I just think of other people I know. Maybe one can end up taking on too many things, so consequently you dilute yourself a bit.
Okay.
But then also there's a natural process after a few years, you become like an established author. So you need a little bit of occasional sort of pat on the back, you know.
It's true.
This is sounding sort of. I'm not saying that I don't get that nice things don't happen to me, and people don't say nice things. They do, but there's always the sense that when you're new and fresh and no one's heard of you, then you're getting quite a lot of attention. But when you're established or you're there,
no one cares.
No
Peter Bentley on the scrap
cares.
heap. Bless you. So, what is your when you're not feeling like this? What is your writing process? How do you start a new story?
How do I start a new story? Well, it's ideas can, as I say this to children when I go to schools, ideas can come from anywhere, and they're a bit like butterflies. If you have a good idea, just anything. It's really anything that takes your fancy. It's literally it can be from just a juxtaposition of two words, even.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
Or just a particular word like shenanigans. The great
sheep.
And sheep and shenanigans. Yes, exactly. Somebody said, I went to a school and a little girl said something like, princesses don't fart. Something like that.
Oh, okay.
She's talking about what do princesses do, what don't they do, they don't fart. And I thought this was hilarious. And I've just written a book called Princesses Don't Parp.
Yes, absolutely. Now, I remember a couple of years ago, you did a shout out on Twitter. This is how long I've been following you, asking what are the words for farting and parting. So do you know what? Twitter is such an important thing for writers because you can see their process and what they're working on and piece it together. And now it's coming to fruition and you've got your book.
I've got my book, yes, exactly, yes. Well, thank you for contributing or for reading it.
Absolutely.
Did I say asking for a friend?
Asking for a friend. No, I think I told you about an Australian book which has just got fart in the title.
Yes, you did in fact, yes, I know that book, yeah, it's... there are books with fart in the title.
Yeah.
In fact, the Australians didn't like the title of Princesses Don't Parp.
No way.
No, they didn't think that parp was common enough as a synonym for farting in Australia.
Okay.
So they wanted to change it to Princesses Don't Fart.
Okay.
We love you.
G'day.
Which I thought was hilarious because you'd think, what word we're going to use? No, they're fine with fart. That's fine, which we were too polite to use in England.
Yeah.
But so something like that. Just to go back to your question.
Sorry, I've gone off track.
Just a mere incidental, a 4-year-old girl saying something like that, and it's the priceless things that little children say sometimes. Very serious. And that's still think, well, that is funny. That's the story's got to come out of that. And another one was like Cats Ahoy, that came out of. Well, I did the Great Dog Bottom Swap.
Love it.
Planned a sequel called The Great Cat Haddock Scam.
Scandal.
Which I wrote, and the inspiration for that was it eventually became Cats Ahoy.
Which is brilliant, by the way. I love how the punchline is them saying the meow. Meow?
That's where the story started. 'Cause I was talking to my wife and she was saying, well, what can I do about cats? We've got why dogs sniff their bottoms. What can we do to do with cats? And she said, what about why do cats say meow? And we thought about it and thought, well, maybe they're saying meow. How can I work that? I thought that has to be a punchline, obviously. So how can I work a story back from that?
And you did.
And I did.
And is that the story that won the Roald Dahl prize?
It is, yes.
Which no longer runs, sadly, actually. I don't think, does it, that one?
No, it doesn't, no.
Funny Book Award, isn't it?
It's called the Laugh Out Loud Awards, the Lollies, which are run by Scholastic and Michael Rosen. Very good thing. Well done, Scholastic, to revive something for funny books.
Oh, it's been revived. So it was Roald Dahl, and now it's Lollies.
Well, it kind of, but the Roald Dahl estate didn't want to take back the name from it.
Okay.
I think they had other plans, maybe, and they didn't. I don't quite know what happened, but anyway, they decided to discontinue the prize.
Okay.
Michael Rosen said the thought that actually there was still a big gap. This gap for some sort of prize for funny books needed to be filled, and so
I agree.
He and Scholastic got it together, and so this is the Lollies. There was a gap. I think it was a couple of year gap maybe when there wasn't a prize, but yeah, the Lollies are on in February. I'm going to the party.
Good luck.
No, I'm not on the list.
Okay.
It'll be a jolly.
Oh, well, which is good, isn't it? I mean, to be honest, it's a lovely, when publishers throw their summer parties, it's a nice little networking event to talk to people that you may not have got an opportunity to, to hook up with before, and just find out what they're doing and get inspiration and meet some truly lovely, lovely people.
Well, yeah, publishers that have those parties, they often do it for exactly that reason. So you can mix. You often spend a lot of your time not mixing with other people. So it's quite good. It's nice to sort of people from all over the country come to them, and like you're in Nottingham.
Absolutely.
I'm currently in London. They're good opportunities to put names to faces, or faces to names. Faces to tweets.
Check if they look like their biog pictures, because mine is a few years old. I hope you can't tell my wrinkles.
Yeah, I realised that there's a photograph of me. Several of my profile pictures are me holding my daughter when she's about 6, and she's now 17.
That's just a couple of years old.
Of course, I haven't changed at all.
So, I ask this question a lot. Do you have a favourite picture book that you've written, and do you have a favourite illustrator?
Controversial. Yeah. Well, I think. No, I'm gonna sort of be a bit fence sitting here.
Okay, I knew you. Everybody has been so far.
I know. Well, I know. Well, I work with lots of really good illustrators.
You've done amazing ones. Helen Oxenbury, Jim Field.
Jim Field. Cats Ahoy was actually Jim Field's first picture book.
No way. And now look at him. Amazing.
That's my boy. I think May Matsuoka, who did Great Dog Bottom Swap.
I love. And you did 3, didn't you? You did the balloon one too?
The balloon one, yes.
Balloon.
The Great Balloon Hullabaloo.
That's it.
Yeah. I think, my top selling book is the one with Helen Oxenbury, unsurprisingly. Because
of course. King Jack, isn't it?
King Jack and the Dragon.
And yes. I love that one.
Yeah. So I'm particularly fond of that.
Yeah.
Not just because of the place it occupies in my bank account, but because her illustrations are so beautiful for it.
Yeah, they are true.
She knows children so well. She draws them so well. So that has to be a favourite, really. The Great Dog Bottom Swap has to be a favourite. It's because so many people say they like it, and
they do.
And I'm pleased with it, if you like. Cats Ahoy, yeah.
Really, really good.
Yeah.
That's had a couple of different covers, hasn't it? I've seen it with different covers. Why did publishers do that?
Well, it was Jim's first picture book, and again that was been out for 10 years almost. Was it 10 years? No, it can't have been. 'Cause it won the Roald Dahl in 2011, so
Nearly.
nearly 10
Next
years.
year.
Yeah. I think there was a feeling that it was doing all right. There was a feeling that Jim's style had moved on, and when you get it with Oi Frog and those hilarious that sequence of books, that Jim's style had moved on. I think I may be wrong with this. Sorry, Jim, if I'm wrong about this. I think Jim as well might have thought that maybe we could. Well, that the art director at Macmillan and Jim and we all thought that maybe we could recover it.
Okay.
And reformat it slightly. I think it's square now. It was slightly more rectangular. You know, the rectangular.
I've got a rectangular version.
Yeah, I think it's a square format now, which is sort of more current, if you like. And it's simpler. It's a simpler image.
Well, it's nice.
And I think that's going to happen to my other books with Jim from Macmillan as well.
Oh wow!
Fingers crossed.
Farmer Clegg's.
Farmer Clegg's Night Out.
Yeah. I know your books. Does it feel like I am a fan?
I'm deeply flattered that you know.
I really do.
You know the titles of my books better than I do.
In all fairness, I enjoy reading picture books as much as I do reading them to my children. I think there's an awful lot of love that goes into them because so many people work on them, like theatre, very collaborative.
They are very collaborative, yeah. I mean, I say this again, it's a thing I say. When I go to schools, that somebody always asks, how do you make a book? And it's very sweet because there's a little 7-year-old sitting there, or 6-year-old saying, how do you make a book? They actually think that how do you make a book? I mean, they think that I've not only written it, and I show them my scruffy notebooks, but I've actually stuck it all together and done a nice drawing on the cover.
Don't you do that? Oh.
Sadly...
This is why you said don't meet your idols, isn't it?
I'm going to have to let you down about that, I'm afraid. No, somebody else does that. And I explain that how much goes into it. There's obviously there's the author, then there's the illustrator, and then there's the editor, then there's the art director, and then there's the designer. Then there's the sales director. And I explain that the cover is always the last thing to be done, and that's the one where the sales director has a veto. And that's and then there are people who are deciding what's to be made of, what is going to have nice shiny gold on it,
Ooh, yes.
Production managers and it's a huge, a lot of effort goes into one book.
Absolutely.
Which is great, really.
I think it's lovely. When it all comes together and it works, I think picture books are such an amazing art form in themselves.
I think after actually having a book accepted by a publisher, my favourite moment is when I get sent a set of rough illustrations with the words, and you can see how what the illustrator's done with the story, or added to the story. I mean, I say
added
to the story. I say to that I create half a story.
Yeah, it's true.
And an illustrator, in the best sense, or the old sense of the word, adds lustre to a story. Yeah. I think lustre was originally a particular type of ink or something, in illuminated manuscripts.
Okay.
So you get the scribe would write the text out in this immaculate old hand, and then the illustrator would add the lustre, which would be the illustrations around the outsides and the margins and the big capital, the big red letters.
Yes. So lackluster obviously comes from that. There's not as much attention, not as much love and care into it, maybe.
I guess so, yeah, or just plain.
We've done a history lesson today as well. That's phenomenal. I love it. We are actually running out of time. I've realised on our clock. So the last thing to ask you.
Please fire away. Sorry.
No.
I've gone off into bloody medieval history.
It's amazing.
As I always do. I'm always thrown off by my children for this.
Yeah, that's what they say. That Peter Bentley. Final words. What makes a good picture book?
What makes a good picture book? Well, it's a difficult question. I think it has to be quite a clear story.
Yep.
A clear story and a bit of humour. It can be a serious subject, but a bit of humour, and ultimately a world that is when it comes to an end is a safe world for the child.
Okay.
Beyond that, good writing, good illustrating, I suppose, obvious.
Simple as that.
But I think it also has to touch something deeper than
resonate with today.
Yeah, well, not necessarily with today, with something universal.
Okay.
It doesn't necessarily have to be about something or have a moral, but I think it needs to have needs to be something more to it than just one word after another.
Yeah, I agree.
You know.
And I think that is absolutely sound advice. Mr. Peter Bentley, thank you so much for coming today.
Well, it's my
to
pleasure.
This awesome place. I've actually got a little gift from our friends at Clean Prose. They've given you a nice little tote bag and a little book, and I expect notes to be in there. So I will give you those.
Well, that's fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you very much for coming as well.
Sainsbury's shopping will be in there.
Sainsbury's shopping will be there. There you go.
Thank you very much. That's very kind of you. It's been a pleasure.
It's been an absolute pleasure as well. And meeting your idols, hasn't dwindled my love for you and your work as well. But
Phew.
thank you so much for joining in to Gareth Story Planet. I hope you enjoyed Peter's story. Make sure you click the link, subscribe, do the dingle dongle bell, and join us next week for more fantastic interviews. See you later.
See you. Bye.
Bye bye.